So automatically Oklahoma is going to have to get very aggressive in the transfer portal if Dillon decides not to come back. If you do guarantee him the starting position or, at least, the opportunity to start and he decides to come back to Oklahoma, then you give Jackson time to see the game, prepare for this offense, because even though he's run a similar offense in high school, it isn't the same as what Jeff's done. It's probably not the same language as what he was doing at Denton Guyer. But that being said, I know that it is a lot the same. A lot of RPO stuff that they run, a lot of similar things. Again, and I'm not even saying that Jackson won't be ready to start, but my feeling is this: you want to have him win the job, not just be thrust into it before his time.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Let's go! Welcome back to the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Folks, we are this close to hitting our monetization number. Our views are so high. We've actually had over 4,000 watch hours just in the last month of content that I've been putting out. So very excited that we are close. We are at 938 subscribers of our needed 1,000 to be able to monetize the channel. I would appreciate it. For anybody who is watching this and you're not yet a subscriber, please hit that red subscriber button. If you are already a subscriber and you know other folks that love the Oklahoma Sooners and want to know about recruiting information or anything that's going on with the Sooners, and just to, let your own voice be heard as well, hey, let them know about the channel. It's at CFB Podcast on YouTube.com. At CFB-podcast on YouTube.com. Folks, if you would like to help the show, forward as well, aside from subscribing, if you already have, you can always get some of our amazing pod merchandise. It's bit.ly/capital CFB-pod-merch. That's right there in that bottom left corner. As you can see, you got the Lincoln Riley Blocked Me pullover hoodie is up there for sale. There's some other stuff in there as well. There's a couple of surprise ones that I think you ought to go take a look at. So take a look at that one as well while you're in there. You can always shop for Sooner gear or any gear from any team that you root for at our Fanatics Partner store, which is above as well, HOF-Fanatics. So check that out anytime. You will get up to 65% off everything in the store. We get a small commission for everything you purchase. So it's a win-win no matter what. You get to help out the program. We get to help you get a better deal. So heading into 2 days from now, which today is my birthday, by the way. So if you would go ahead and bump up those subscriber numbers, I'd appreciate that. It'd be a great birthday gift to get to 1,000 today. I'd love it. I'd appreciate that. But even if we get there by the first of the year, that's the goal. That has been the goal, which, we would still be way ahead of schedule as far as what you supposedly are supposed to get to your, mark on YouTube. For beginners anyway. Generally, it usually takes about a year. We're going to do it in 6 months if we hit it by New Year's Day. So I'd appreciate that if you jumped in there, became a subscriber. Now, talking about the Cheez-It Bowl, 2 days away. We will be doing a preview tomorrow with my new co-host. I will announce his name on the show. We'll let you know who it is. Good friend of mine, though. He'll have a lot of good insight into a lot of the things that we talk about, and plus we've got a good relationship fun relationship where we kind of trash and mess with each other a little bit as well. I think we'll have a good time. But looking forward to that tomorrow. So be sure to check out the show tomorrow when we do a full-on Cheez-It Bowl preview. Wanted to talk to you a little bit today about Dillon Gabriel and his non-committal stance so far on whether or not he's going to return to the Sooner program. First and foremost, I'd like to say that I hope that he does come back. I know that it's been kind of one of the debatable things on Twitter. There's some people that are of the opinion that you go ahead and give the starting nod to Jackson Arnold, because that would give him some needed development time heading into what we expect to be the SEC in 2024. If everything works out the way that it looks like it may, I know that Oklahoma and Texas are negotiating right now with the league on a possible early exit for a lesser amount of buyout money than what it would be. What I would tell you is there's a few things in the way of that happening. Not that it couldn't be worked around, for the right number. But there's going to have to be a few things that are going to happen before that becomes a reality. But assuming that you are going into the SEC in 2024, that leaves 1 year left in the Big 12. A lot of folks are of the belief that you go ahead and you give the job to Jackson Arnold. I definitely understand that stance and why somebody would take it. I don't necessarily agree with it. First off, that's assuming that you're going to need to take some licks, and what you feel like is a lesser league than what the SEC is. That you're going to have to take your licks. Maybe, but I also feel like, and this is just me, my opinion is this, that if you rush him in before it's time and he struggles mightily, and you have to pull him out and say, if you keep Dillon Gabriel around for the starting position or for a backup position, which I think is definitely that's got its own problems in it, because if Dillon's already thinking about not coming back, and then you tell him that you're going to go ahead and go with Jackson Arnold, then he's probably definitely not coming back. Number two, who's going to back him up? So automatically Oklahoma's going to have to get very aggressive in the transfer portal if Dillon decides not to come back. If you do guarantee him the starting position, or at least, the opportunity to start, and he decides to come back to Oklahoma, then you give Jackson time to see the game, prepare for this offense, because even though he's run a similar offense in high school, it isn't the same as what Jeff's done. It's probably not the same language as what he was doing at Denton Guyer. But that being said, I know that it is a lot the same. A lot of RPO stuff that they run, a lot of similar things. Again, and I'm not even saying that Jackson won't be ready to start, but my feeling is this: you want to have him win the job, not just be thrust into it before his time. Because, I mean, you've seen that stunt quarterback's growth before, and possibly not everybody's ready for that. When you look at Caleb Williams, do you feel like he probably could have started game one of his freshman season at Oklahoma? Probably. But even then, and you have to figure that Lincoln knew that he was better than Spencer Rattler. You have to figure that. But he didn't want to thrust him into that position either, to where he had to go in there and win it. Now, I guess one could argue that he was trying to be loyal to Spencer as being his first guy to recruit and bring in. And I think that there's something to that. But I also feel like he probably wanted to wait and see how things developed over the first few weeks, whether or not you really need to throw him in there or not. Obviously, once it came down to Red River time and they were getting their butts kicked, it was time to make a move. And generally speaking, I feel like Caleb probably would have been ready going through those early season games and stuff like that. But again, not everybody is Caleb Williams. I would tell you that Dillon Gabriel is not Caleb Williams, although I feel like he played fabulous this season under the circumstances. He led the offense to a top 20 in the nation ranking, was the Big 12 Newcomer of the Year, and I feel like he's earned the right to start again next season. That being said, is there something else at play? I mean, why is Dillon being non-committal? It's a good question. It's definitely a good question. I feel like you would think, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, he was slated to go to UCLA before Levy called him, and he was going to be a backup there to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Yeah, he was. But after having a season like he had this season, could he not have some offers out there to be a starter elsewhere? It's possible that he could. I think that the reason he was looking to go to UCLA as a backup, it may have been his best offer aside from Oklahoma a year ago, but he was also coming off an injury that he didn't play most of the year, and he had actually missed some time the year before as well with injuries. So it was a question on whether or not he would be available or he was going to be able to come back at all and be the same player that he was. I think that he's proven, even with some sputtering performances, throughout the year, that he's definitely still a viable starting quarterback. He's not Caleb Williams, I'll give you that, but I would say he's definitely a viable starter. Now, whether or not and I know a lot of people have argued that they feel like he is better to not be a starter, and go ahead and put Jackson in. Again, that's assuming that he's ready to rock and roll. That would be assuming he's ready to rock and roll and go ahead and be the starter. Maybe he is. If it's me and I'm Coach Venables or even Coach Levy, I want to see him come in and win the job. Or if he's going to get thrust into action, it's because Gabriel got hurt. And then maybe he's ready to go by then. And that's just my feeling on it. But I feel like with a guy like Dillon Gabriel, who played pretty well this season under the circumstances, you expect that the defense should be at least somewhat improved next year, particularly with some of the guys that are in this 2023 recruiting class, figure to be immediate impact guys. When you start thinking about guys like PJ Adebawari, I would venture to say guys like Makari Vickers. These are guys that may come in and play immediately, at least in some sense of being able to do that. Garrett LeBlanc, I would expect that he's probably ready to go as well. No telling who could possibly be part of that, but I feel like there are some guys that are going to be ready. I expect that even just 1 year with the defense under their belt, you'll see improved play from the defense. And I feel like had you just been better somewhere in the neighborhood of top 75 in the country instead of number 121, they probably win 8 or 9 games a year ago. So if you get the same, let's just assuming we get the same kind of offensive output, which it should be better in year 2 with Dillon Gabriel, and let's say you get top 50 on the defensive side. That's not a lot to ask, I don't think. Then you should have 8 or 9 wins. That 8 or 9 wins is going to put you 9 wins is going to give you an opportunity to play for the conference championship more than likely. 10 wins, you're for sure going to get in the conference championship game, right? That would be my thoughts on it. Now, we'll find out, wait and see how everything goes, but I feel like that's kind of the opportunity that you're looking at. Again, we'll see how things go, but I'm hoping that maybe he's just, being a little non-committal about it because he's wanting to wait and see maybe what the offer is, wanting to see maybe the coaching staff hasn't been as committal on him being the starter without having to work for it. I don't know. But that being said, and maybe he's waiting to see what's going to happen with guys like Marvin Mims, some of these other guys, and see how maybe they play in the bowl game as well. Who's to say? He may just want to sit and talk to his family about it. You guys let me know what you think in the comments here. Do you think that Jackson Arnold is better served to go ahead and start no matter what in year one? Or do you feel like it would be better to have Dillon Gabriel as the starter, at least until Arnold is ready to take over the reins on his own? Let me know in the comments what you think. And again, guys, if you love the content that we keep bringing you from week to week, please hit that subscriber button. Help me get to that 1,000 mark so that we can continue moving forward, monetized. We've got some special things in store for you over the next few months that we hope to kind of implement in our second year of having the podcast. We plan to continue to put it on every week. So this is not going to be just a seasonal thing that we're going to shut it down during the off season. We're going to continue to go with whatever information we have about college football and the Sooners, of course, all the way through. Thanks a lot for coming back to the show. I appreciate that. Again, we will see you on the next tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, the 28th. We will have my new co-host on with me to talk about the game itself between Florida State and the Sooners in the Cheez-it Bowl. We'll talk a little bit about what's being said out there and then kind of handicap what we expect to happen. Thing is, it's going to be a tough handicap with the bowl game, kind of seeing who's there. The good news is it looks like Marvin Mims is going to be there. He was in a press conference earlier today, so he's definitely on site. He's going to be playing in that one. Again, I feel like he'll be back as well. But let me know what you think about the whole Dillon Gabriel situation. Is he ready to go now? Do you feel like you want him to come back and start next season, or are you in the camp of throw it on to Jackson Arnold? Let's see what he does in what you expect to be the last season in the Big 12. Let me know what you think. Talk to you on the next one.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.